having a really lovely day. My name is Sheona and I own and run Sewsfaction, which is a really beautiful fabric shop and sewing school. And as part of our mini Learn to Sew series here on YouTube, today I'm going to teach you how to thread the top of your machine. Now, obviously if you've been sewing for a long time, then you're not going to need this tutorial, but I remember, and I'm sure you do, what it was like when you first started learning to sew, and there were so many things that you didn't know. So today I'm going to teach you how to thread up the machine from the top, and there's also going to be another video on how to thread the machine from the bottom, so using your bobbin. I'm going to be using my trusty Janome DKS 100, which is a top loading machine, but you'll find that most machines will thread at the top in a very similar way. So if your machine looks a little bit different, don't worry, follow along with this, look at the different parts on your machine and have a look at your instruction manual at the same time so you can see where the subtle differences will be. Obviously threading the top of the machine is very important because without that you won't be able to create your stitch. The majority of the time if people have a problem with their stitching, so skip stitches, tangled stitches, most of the time it comes down to incorrect threading. So even if you've been sewing for a little while but you're not certain you're doing it the right way, it may well be worth watching this video just to make sure you're 100% happy that you're threading your machine properly, especially if you're having any issues with your stitching. So before I start the tutorial, it would be amazing if you could subscribe to the channel. I record videos every week on fabric, all about our beautiful fabrics from my shop, excuse me, showing you the things I've made, tips, tutorials, ideas, etc. and it'd be wonderful if you could be part of the channel. All you need to do is hit the button down there somewhere and you'll be notified every time a new video goes up. All these tutorials will be under our tutorials playlist, so you can have a look and find them all and work your way through if you wish. First thing is to take a look at the top of your machine. It will probably look similar to this, although it might not have all of these features, or it might have more. You will have a spool pin that your reel of thread goes on. It will either be horizontal as it is here or vertical. You will have a thread guide here, which like this is a little piece of plastic, or yours might be metal, and you'll have these channels down here and this little silver thread guide here. If you can't see this, you need to turn the handle on the side of the machine and towards you until that thread guide pops up into its most upright position. We also always thread the machine with the presser foot lever up, so make sure you lift the lever and the foot is lifted. This will make sure that your tension discs in here are apart and that the thread can sit properly in those channels. So the first thing we're going to do is start with our reel of thread, and we're going to take our spool cap off and pop that on. It's important to put the spool cap back on if you've got a horizontal spool pin like this, because otherwise your thread will fly across the room when you're sewing. So we pop our thread on. If we've got a horizontal pin, we just pop it on the top and you don't need a cap. First thing we're going to do is take a tail of thread and take it round this first thread guide. We're then going to take it down this channel, wrap it round under here. Yours may go all the way down to here. You might not have a start-stop button, but you'll wrap it round and then you'll bring it back up this channel and behind from the right hand side, behind this silver thread guide to the left, and just give it a little pull. And what you're looking for is that the thread is securely in that thread guide. I'll show you what I mean. You can see here that the thread that we've popped in is now sitting in this thread guide here, and helpfully there's a little diagram so that we can see. If your thread guide isn't spring loaded, you might find it just has a little hole that you have to thread it through, but it's really important that you get it through there. Once you've brought that thread down, you'll see that you have a couple of hooks under your machine. You'll normally have a hook just directly under this throat plate, which for us is just here. you can see it just here. So the next thing we do is hook it behind that large hook, and then either side of your needle you'll have a hook as well. You may just have one on the left hand side. It's really important that you hook that in there as well. Now you've threaded up the top of the machine, through the thread guides and down, you will now need to thread the needle. You may have 2 hooks here. You may only have 1, you may have a different number of hooks or thread guides on the top, but as long as you catch them all, you'll be absolutely fine. Now I've just trimmed my thread down, so I've got a nice sharp end. I find it helpful to pop my finger behind the needle so that I can see the eye of the needle a little bit easier. You should probably turn your machine off if you haven't already, just so that you don't risk popping your needle through your finger. So your needle threads front to back, like so, and then you just tuck this thread between the toes of the foot and towards the back. You may also have noticed this little gadget, which is called an automatic needle threader, and that can be really helpful if you struggle with threading the needle yourself. I'll show you how to use that on a separate tutorial, so check out our tutorials page if you'd like to know how to use it. So once threaded, your machine should look like this. The thread should be coming round from the top, behind this first thread guide, down this channel, under and round and back up, behind this thread guide, and you've popped it in so it's just hooked in round there, back down this channel, it's hooked under our hook that's just tucked under there, and hooked left of the needle, and our needle is then threaded from front to back with the thread tucked in between the toes of the foot and tucked to the back. So I hope you found that really useful. Now you've threaded the top of your machine, you'll want to thread up the bottom of your machine using a bobbin. So make sure you check out our tutorial on how to wind a bobbin and load it into your machine, and then you can get stitching. If you found this video useful, I would be so grateful if you would share it with a friend who likes sewing, or someone that you think might want to get into sewing, so that hopefully they'll find it useful too. And as I said earlier, please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We also have a newsletter and are really active on social media, Instagram, Facebook, etc., and I'll link all of those down below. For now, have a really good day, and I will see you again really soon. Take care, guys. Bye.